Hi there. Today we are going to explore using the microbit machine learning feature called Create AI. Create AI is a new feature that has been released for the microbit that helps students explore the world of machine learning and AI with their microbit. It's broken up into two steps. One is you gather data to train your model, and then you use that training in your programming. And we're going to use it in our monster pet in a very simple way. We're going to use the training to change its different features. So right now, this monster here is asleep, and you can kind of see the eyes. It's got the two dots and it's got the round face. And when I wake it up, it initially smiles, but then it is got this kind of X face going. And if I play with it, it starts to smile now. And by rocking it back and forth like that, I've trained it to recognize that as playing with it. If I put it, let's stop moving, it'll go back to where it was. And then finally, if I want to rock it to sleep, I can kind of do this, and you can see it starts to fall asleep, and the eyes become these straight eyes. It goes to sleep, and it's like rocking it is this motion that gives it these lines. So that's the basic idea that we're going to explore: how to use the machine learning features of the microbit, what we should look out for when we're using them, because machine learning has its limitations and they are highlighted very clearly here in the microbit. And it's a great opportunity for us to explore and play with it. So let's get started and jump onto the code. Okay, so we start by going to createai.microbit.org, and you will get this page here that says microbit create AI. It gives you a great explanation. It talks you through. It even has some sample projects. But since we already know what we want to do, we're going to jump right in and get started and click on this button here. Okay, so I have created this first project. Actually, let me just back up real quick. I'm going to just start with a new session here. And you can see here, new session setup. First step we do is we connect our microbit and we download a Bluetooth application to the microbit that lets us train it with the data. One thing to note that right now, even though the microbit is rich with sensors, it has the accelerometer, it has the temperature, it has the sound sensor, it has lots of sensors in it. Right now, we are only training with the accelerometer. So we are measuring the force of acceleration on 3 axes. So just something to know as you design your projects. It can only be motion-based projects right now. So I'm going to plug this in and follow these instructions. So it says your microbit is not connected, so I'm going to connect it. It gives me the instructions what I need. I need my microbit, a computer, a USB cable, and a battery holder. Basically, the microbit has to be powered when it's not plugged in, and so we have that with our board here. So you do not need that separate battery holder because this board is our battery holder. So let's just get started and plug it in and follow the instructions. Okay. Next, it says connect the cable. Next, it goes through the data collection. Next, wants to pair. We connect that one. We pair it. Downloads the data collection program. Step 1, like I said, is you download a data collection program to the microbit. Taking a moment here. Once this is downloaded, it asks us to disconnect it. So I'm going to disconnect the cable. Click on the next. It says copy the pattern displayed on the microbit. This is the pattern, so I just say next. It says the next pop-up pair the microbit, so I'm pairing it. It wants to pair my Bluetooth and pair. So now I've connected the microbit, and now you will see in this bottom corner here, there is a chart that is showing the live data of the accelerometer. As I move it, you'll see that it's it's changing the different axes. So like as I move it in different ways, you can see the X, Y, and the Z are moving in different ways. And that is what we're going to use to train the microbit. So I said I wanted to write code where when I'm rocking it, that calms down my monster. And then when I'm playing with it, that makes it happy. So let's try that. Let's create an action, and let's call this action. I'm going to pull down here. I'm going to name this action rocking. Okay, so now that I've created the action, I have to record data to train the model. So I'm going to rock it a number of times so that it learns what rocking is. So I've got this here. I can either press the record button up there, or I can take this. I'm going to push the B, and then it's going to count down, and I'm going to just start rocking it like back and forth and back and forth. So I'm rocking my microbit. I'm going to do this really exaggerated rocking because I want this to know that it's being rocked. So my rocking is it's on its back and it's just rocking up and down, up and down. I'm going to record one more. So the more data you record, the more accurate it is at machine learning. So now you can see there are 4 data points there of what it means to be rocked. Looks good. Let's create another action. And this time I'm going to call this play. And so I want this to be a happy face because I'm playing with it. And we're going to say play. So now playing is kind of like dancing with it. I'm going to do that to it. All right. So I'm going to push this button B and just start dancing with it and moving it back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to do that one more time, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, and one more time here. You know, getting lots of data of having it playing back and forth. Rocking, 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 dancing, dancing, dancing. Okay, so we've now recorded these actions, and now that we have our data, we plug it into the machine learning model, which is what trains it. So the machine learning is going to take our data and try to learn from it. So I click on this button, train model, and I say start training. So now we are training the model. It's thinking. And so it's taken this data that we've created and it's training it based on that so that it can know what's going on. So I've created 2 things, remember, rocking and playing. And I want it to know the difference based on training of what's going on. So it's going to sense itself, and then it's going to figure out if it's being rocked or if it's playing. And we'll see what it comes up with. Okay, so now there's a neat feature that's happening here. It is showing me right now what it thinks is happening. And it's confusing because I'm not touching it. It's on the ground. I haven't touched it. And it's just sitting on its back, but it thinks it's rocking. And if I put it upright, now it thinks it's playing. Flat again, it thinks it's rocking. Upright, it thinks it's playing. What's going on here? Is this model that bad? I mean, obviously I'm not moving it. I thought it was supposed to learn from my movements of what was going on. Well, remember, it's thinking mathematically, and it's thinking it's doing one. It's only thinking that it can do one thing or the other thing. And because of that, the closest thing it's to right now when it's flat is rocking, and the closest thing it's to when it's upright is playing. So if we want to kind of not confuse it so much, maybe we should create another variable that is asleep so that when it's flat, and maybe awake so when it's just upright but not moving, and see how that do. So let's create 2 more variables, 2 more actions, and see what we can do with this. So I go to the action. I go to edit data samples, and now I'm going to add another action. This one I'm going to call asleep, and asleep is going to be this one with the mouth open like that. Sleep. And sleep is just going to be when the microbit is flat and not moving, that's sleep. So I'm going to record that one. 1, 2, 3. How about we do 4? It likes a minimum of 3 data points, but it's always the more data, the better. Okay, so that's sleep. Now I'm going to put it upright and record that, but not moving, just upright. I'm going to call this one awake. I'm going to add an action and say this one's awake and awake. I'm going to give it this little zigzag face and call that awake. All right, so now it's awake. I'm going to hold it, click once, record again. Okay, so now I have recorded 4 actions so that it has to differentiate between 4 actions. You'll see that the more actions you give it, the more accurate it can be. The more things it's trying to tell apart, the more accurate it will be, hopefully. Let's see. I'm going to train the model. I click on Start Training. I'll get rid of this little information sheet so that I don't see it every time. Model is training. Working away here. So let's see what it comes up with. All right, let's see what happens. So now it's once again giving us its best guess at what's happening. Remember, you can see on the screen right now when I have it flat, it says it's 99% sure it's asleep. That's good. It doesn't think it's being rocked anymore. It only thinks 1% chance it's being rocked. What if I start to rock it? Wow, look, now it's up to 100% of that it's being rocked. What if I put it upright? Okay, so you saw that briefly it thought it might be playing, but then it said, nope, I think it's awake. So now it's awake. But what if I start rocking it back and forth? You see, it's pretty sure it's play, but it's not always sure as to what's going on. But there it is, it's play. It definitely knows it's play because I'm working it back and forth. So now the model is more accurate. What helped was giving it more actions to try to tell apart. When you only give it 2 things, it's only going to think it's one thing or the other. And that's why it wasn't very accurate before. Think about that as you design your project, that if you're trying to come up with it, it might not even be something you really wanted to sense. Like I only wanted to sense, maybe in my code, I'm only going to use the rocking variable or the rocking action, but I need to train it with the other actions so that it knows the difference between these. Now I can go into make code and take this and download it into my microbit. And you'll see that when I open up make code, it's going to open a very special make code window. This one has this machine learning feature up top. It's createai.microbit.org/code. The bad news is we have to recreate all our programs that we were using before. So if I want to use functions or if I want to use other variables that I'd used before, I have to recode those in here. But the good news is now I have machine learning. So now I can say, use the variables plus the machine learning and the functions to make a very rich and exciting program